What's up, family? Joe B from CRUSHERCAST. Here we are at another interview. This one is one that I've wanted to do since the beginning, but for those of you who know me, it would almost be too obvious. So I wanted to put it off a little bit, and I think I asked him in the beginning, even way before when it was still just a concept, and he said yeah. But anyway, this episode is my brother, my bandmate, Randy Shanks. All my life, I've wanted to be able to write music and give people that feeling that music gave me when I was growing up, and still does, continues to. It seemed to do something for me that it didn't do for other people. When I was sad or when I was happy, or no matter what was going on, there was a song for it, a song that I turned to. And I maintain those to this day. But anyway, I wanted to be able to give that to other people, but I just didn't have the tools, and I tried for years and years and years to write music, and I wrote a few songs here and there, and but it was always super labor intensive for me. It was always just, it was just a hard work. But I knew that if I kept trying, eventually everything would line up, and I would come in contact with people who heard and felt music the way that I did. I'm not real musically trained. I just know what I hear, and I knew that if I kept on, I would eventually stumble across somebody who heard it the way I did and was able to translate. Because let's be serious, I've had my nose broke 4 times and I can't sing worth a crap. So I need somebody who can do that. And I knew that that person was out there somewhere. So we put an ad out looking for a singer. We had we had 3 songs written, I think. Got every karaoke singer for 100 miles respond, and we finally we forgot about the ad. Basically never took it down, but forgot about it. And then Randy responded to the ad. And so we sent him a song, 740. And 2 days he sent it back done. And we were blown away. Absolutely blown away that something could sound that good, that we, that quickly, that we had created. And so we invited Randy to come out and jam with us. And that first night, something happened, and I think we were just wrapping up for the night. We had a good practice. We played those 3 songs that we had and worked on those a little bit, and then I just started playing a riff. I didn't have that riff going in. I just started playing, just started noodling around, started playing this riff, and Randy stepped up to the mic and started singing. And I think that those are the exact same lyrics. It was the song Widow. And I think that those are still the same lyrics. I think there's a demo, I think, on our website that is that song. And it happened immediately. And there was that person. He immediately translated what was going on in my head. Randy anybody that knows Randy knows Randy. He's eccentric. He's funny. He's got a huge heart. He's hardworking, but underneath all the stuff that he lets people see, is an amazing human being. He's lived an amazing life, and he's got a great story to tell. And continually, time after time after time after time, I get around this guy, and whether I got an instrument in my hand or not, I feel inspired. I feel inspired that I want to get better musically. I want to be a better friend. That's what that guy brings out in me, and I love him. We've been running around making music together for about 9 years, a little over 9 years, going on 10 years. And I don't know what I'd do without him, He's been a part of my life through some pretty rough patches, and I his, and I just love him to death. And so, without further ado, Randy Shanks. CRUSHERCAST. What's up, family? Joe B from CRUSHERCAST here. Got my friend Randy Shanks with us tonight. We're going to be sitting and chatting. Did you get caught in a storm? It seems like every time I do one of these, there's a massive freaking thunderstorm.
Yes, I did. Well, the guy that I met right before here, he said that it's pouring real bad. I think there's a tornado, and I was like, well, I'm driving through it, so I have an interview. So,
I have an interview.
So I did hit it, but it didn't last long. It was one of those kind of in and out deals where it was like, oh my God, it's real scary, and there's lightning, and then next thing you know, it was done. So,
did you have a good day at work today?
It wasn't bad.
Installing closets.
Today I did a shower door and mirrors, and the other crew that was with me did. I did minimal on the closets today.
Essential work.
Yeah, essential work. You have to have a place to hang your clothes and wash your rear end.
Right. Yeah. Is that strange in this world of COVID right now, going into people's homes? I know it's got to be.
Yeah, because every rule is different. So
every home's different.
Yeah. Every person that you meet, they may answer the door with a mask and bubble wrap on, and want you to virtually wrap yourself up and come in and still work.
Right.
Or they want to reschedule. Or they don't care about the mask at all, and they think that they want to tell you all their conspiracy theories for the couple hours that you're there. Right. So I mean, you meet some different kinds of folks.
Some people just open the door and run to the kitchen and go, "It's in there."
Yeah,
it's in there. Go in there and work.
Some people have done that. Some people have opened the door, backed up, and then called and didn't. They don't have my number. So they call our office, and the office.
You may now enter.
The office calls me, and they're like, "Hey, the lady left the door open." So you don't know to go in. So not only that, now I'm going in someone's house with a mask on. So it gets awkward.
More awkward.
I'm sure I'm on a whole bunch of Ring cameras entering somebody's house with a mask on right now. But it's all legally. It's all legal. Yeah, right. Yeah. It's all consensual. That's
funny. So. I've got you here, my friend. This is Ordinary People, Inspired Lives. And I'm starting with the people who inspire me. And you're one of those people.
Awesome. Well, I feel like you're one of those people, so we'll flip this later.
Whatever. So I'm going to tell you now why you inspire me.
All right, cool.
And then we're going to get into who you are and what your life has been like.
Maybe we'll learn a little bit more about me together.
I know quite a bit.
Good,
but maybe I'll learn something.
Yeah. I'll try to be as hidden as possible.
Okay, so you answered an ad late. Was it 2011? December 2011?
I don't remember the exact date, but yeah, it was 2011 it was
before Christmas because we said that we were going to wait to hook up.
Yeah. So I don't remember if it was 2011 or 2012.
It was definitely 2011.
Okay.
I just couldn't remember if it was before 2011 or...
I don't know.
So that means that we have been writing songs together for 9 years.
It goes quick, don't it?
Yeah.
Like I know I'll be reminded on Facebook, of how long we've been friends or whatever, and it makes me laugh because it's like, there's people, Glenn, whoever, you've known your whole life. And then there's people you feel like you've known your whole life. Yeah. But then there's in a band, it's different. We spend a lot of time together, but we spend minimal time doing what we love together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when you get to share that, it's a different kind of friendship than anyone else I'm friends with or ever have been friends with in and out of groups.
Yeah.
So.
Well, one of the things I've wanted to be a musician my whole life.
Me too.
I know you.
Me too.
I've wanted to be a musician my whole life, and it wasn't so much that I wanted to be, there's different times in my life I wanted to, first time I heard Randy Rhoads solo, overnight I wanted to be able to play Randy Rhoads music. I wanted to be a guitar player. I wanted to be in a rock band. There's different reasons for wanting to be in a rock band, ladies and lots of drugs and stuff like that. But
all the things we think we want.
Right. But most of all, I have wanted to be able to write a song that makes someone feel what I felt. Because every time I broke up with a girl and I was sad or got a broken heart or I was happy, there's a song that was a soundtrack for that.
Yeah, that carried you through for sure.
Yeah. And it hit me. It seemed to hit me stronger and harder than it did other people. So I started trying to write music at some point. I got me a little Fostex. Remember the cassette recorders?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
little four trackers.
Yeah. And I just started
Always busted the lid off the front, but the tape still worked. Yeah,
exactly. My little Max L cassette that's been recorded over 18 times.
Yeah.
There. But I started trying to figure out how to write music, and I could never really get very far. And then I got sober, and I kind of rededicated myself to learning music. And I played with a few different guys, and we could play covers, and we get along good, I guess. But then when I'd start talking about originals, and I'd say, hey, you know, I know we're doing this cover thing, but come over by the house and let's work on this original song I got. And it was like nobody ever heard what I hear in my head or what I was trying to say. And I was always looking for that person. You know, our buddy Glenn, he was right there with me playing bass, but he was like, dude, show me what you do or show me your riff and I'll put something over the top of it. And it was always that way. But when it came to lyrics and vocals, I can't sing worth a shit. But I always wanted to find that person who could say what I was trying to say in a way that I was trying to say and who could hear it in what I was doing. We sent you a song, 740, with no lyrics, no vocals. And up to that point, writing songs were like brutal and I hated it, but I knew I wanted to do it. It was just tedious process. You answered back in 2 days, sent us that song back in
How long was that out? I mean, how long did you guys have that ad up?
We had that ad up. We had given up on that ad. We put an ad in Craigslist looking for a vocalist before it was Divide the Empire. It was the three of us jamming. And we put an ad, Craigslist, and we got every karaoke guy around that somebody had ever said, hey, you're a great vocalist. And then the really established good vocalist listened to it and was kind of like, yeah, it's not my thing. We sent it to you, and in 2 days, you sent it back with vocals on it. And they were amazing. It blew me away what you were able to do with stuff we wrote.
Especially with me on that little Fostex cassette deck. You know? I mean, that was
I
the
think
amazing
you had the BR 1600, but
yeah, I don't know where I was at that point, but not good recording equipment for, you know, overall.
But was able to hear.
Yeah.
And here's the part that inspired me. One of the most amazing parts that inspired me. You came for the first practice at the old storage unit where we were practicing. And I just started playing a riff. I think I just noodling around, and I just started playing a riff, and it was Widow. Super simple, nothing extravagant. And you just stepped up to the mic and started singing. And you started singing like you already knew what I was doing. And that blew me away. And you continually do that. 10 years later, you're still doing that. We could go into that other room where we practiced and noodle around for a little bit, and I guarantee you within an hour, you'll be spitting out some lyrics.
No, we're just lucky.
No, you're just talented.
Well, and I mean, that's awesome.
You have a gift.
Yeah, and we're trying to use it. So I'm glad that the gift is working. If that's what it is, you know what I mean? Like
but it was like, for me, it was like somebody who'd been missing. Like you said a minute ago, like we'd known each other a long time. And for me, it wasn't like we had known each other a long time, but it was like we picked up like we had.
Yeah, well, and like I said, there's something about what we were talking about way earlier before the camera went on about the whole idea about spiritual. There's something that binds ideas together. You don't know why. You know, whoever it was, let's say Tesla, when he was first coming up with ideas for, you know, generators and stuff like that, he would wrap one up and put it over here and wrap this one up and put it over here. And they are virtually the same thing, but a little different. And then maybe he realized that he needed to put these two things together to make the whole thing work anyway, you know? And a lot of times that's what it is. These things may work out of place, but they work a lot better put together, you know? So I just treat it as like a puzzle. I feel like I've written music with a handful of different guitarists and riffers, whatever you want, because I don't think that there's really such thing as a song until every piece is put in place. And I think we're fortunate in that regard that I can't compare us to anybody. really. I mean, when people ask who we sound like, I'm like, I don't know. Like, go to dividetheempire.com, check out my acoustic stuff. Yeah. I don't think that we sound, I definitely, I don't know. I'm happy that it's worked out the way that it has. I think that it's been a cool road. Like you said, 9 years. I mean, that's a long time in itself to write original music. Most people that I know at this time, they always ask me why we don't do cover bands because we sound like this. And I'm like, I love cover bands, but I love that there's other people that do that and we write. If we don't get as much money or as popular as those bands, so be it. It's not about that. It's about doing what you want. If my friends want to go out there and rock all those awesome songs, that's awesome. I'll go watch them.
Rock of Ages.
Yeah, whatever it may be, But I support that. But I wish that there was a stronger, minus COVID, I wish there was a stronger force right now to get everybody out there and really, nailing on a lot of these songs that we just put out not too long ago. You know?
So,
not to get off on.
No. But so the inspiration for me is that, like, I think you said it real well just a minute ago, that there was a piece missing.
Yeah.
And me being able to fulfill a dream and a passion of mine that's personal to me. And I had no idea that in that I would also gain a brother and a friend and
possibly some income.
And possibly some income.
You just never know, I mean,
so I know a little bit about it. So tell me what it was like for little Randy growing up. Where'd you grow up? Were you in Swansea? Or?
No, I was born in Belleville. Lived in Belleville till I was 8. Normal childhood, single mother, welfare most of the time. My mom was in school.
Were you conscious of the fact that
that we were poor?
Yeah, that you're poor.
Yeah, definitely. I my early memories of school were always having to either fight for dumb reasons, like because you wore Walmart Spalding shoes,
tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was definitely integrated in a time in the 80s where, I mean, it was everybody, I mean, it was every creed of person together, and it was an odd time in the 80s. I feel like people were what they call then joning on people for like their clothing and like what they wore. And like, yeah, I mean, I would get beat up by 3 or 4 people. And so my mom was like, well, we're moving to Smithton. So she, I don't know how she pulled it off, but she had there was like a government housing thing where they were building whole neighborhood of the same house. And she was like, this is a school where it's only like 300 kids and it was kindergarten through 8th grade, so 300 kids, that's a pretty small town.
How old were you when you moved there?
I think we moved there in 88 or 89. So I was 8 or 9 during the move. And I don't know. It wasn't easy for me to adapt to this. And it was only 7 miles away from Belleville, but it wasn't easy to adapt to the country lifestyle that
like a whole other world?
Whole other world. Whole other world. I mean, and I feel like, I guess when you, in that era, if you came from Belleville, you were like the bad kid, and I had that stigma from the moment I hit Smithton School through high school, that I was this bad kid. And I think when you're told so long that you're a bad kid, for a little while you believe it and you take a little bit too much advantage of it. And then I pulled out at the right time. I moved out of Smithton at the age of 17, and then I was on my own. From then I moved right back to Belleville.
Get your own place.
Yeah. I just, life had taken a weird turn at that point. So I was 17 with a full-time job, and,
How did, where did, you said mom was single. Where did music come in?
Huge inspiration on my mother's end. She sang all the time. She actually, I didn't know this until
what was her favorite band when you were a kid? Do you remember?
Grand Funk Railroad, I want to say, was probably
Right
her favorite band.
Yeah.
But then she loved the Moody Blues. I mean, she loved so much music. Joni Mitchell was her top. So I heard Joni Mitchell and Linda Ronstadt all the time.
Great vocalists.
Great vocalist. In fact, probably one of the main reasons why I would sing along with stuff so much. Now, at the time, I was a Michael Jackson kid, like,
I remember the story.
I mean, yeah, Michael Jackson was just, I'm not going to say Michael Jackson was in me because that's inappropriate, but at the same time, I mean, I had the glove, I had the leather pants, I would emulate everything that he did on television. So while my mom was there, I was there. And you got to remember, I was born in 80. So I was, when the King of Pop was at his prime, that's where I was, the Ninja Turtles took over. But yeah, she was a great singer. She still is. She can still hold a good key. But she played piano. And even though she took lessons, she could wing it on the piano. And she had dated this guy named Paul, and he had this acoustic guitar. I don't remember if it was him or his friend that had this acoustic guitar, and my mom was a pool shark. I mean, she could rack them up, And I'm trying to remember how this goes. One guy bet her that there was no way that she would win, and she said, well, I'll take your acoustic guitar kind of thing. And I got it. And that was around the house forever. So I don't ever remember jamming with my mom, but I always had a guitar around. So I had the Gorilla amp that everybody had at one point, like the yard sale amp.
The G10.
Yeah, and I had some Tesco $25 guitar that I jammed around with every once in a while.
My first was a Tesco Del Rey. My
mom can show you pictures of me rallying a bunch of kids together. In fact, I know she has the pictures because she said she was going to post them up, but I would play, I had instruments around my whole upbringing. From 8-9 years old, my mom had a piano, and then I would yard sale. I'd have a flute, I'd have a whatever it may be, and I just collected these instruments, and I always was jamming around on them. Never really learned how to play.
Didn't you take some lessons?
Yeah, well, that was later though.
Later.
So when I was in 5th grade, my great-grandmother passed away and left my mother a little bit of money. And my mom was like paying bills off and credit card, and she asked me if I wanted anything, and it may be cheesy, but at the time she had taken me to the Muni, and we saw Michael Bolton and Kenny G. And they were like together jamming. Okay,
it's a whole lot of hair, man.
It's a whole lot of hair. But I remember, like I said, I was about 4th or 5th grade at the time.
Yeah.
And we had this conversation on the way to the Muni, if there was anything that I would like. And sure, as a kid, you're like, I want a golf cart, or I want a go-kart, or a motorcycle, or something. That would probably be most kids. And I was like, I want to play saxophone. And this was even before I knew what Kenny G was because Mom listened to it. I didn't really care too much. Yeah, I mean, at the time, like I said, I was a Michael Jackson fan. But I really connected with the overall sound of a saxophone. I was like, wow, what a cool sounding instrument, especially how he was playing it. But I always sang. I was always singing around. I don't think I was any good. I could hold a key at the time, hold a note, could do all these, I could pick a key and sing, and
you weren't working up any of your own melodies or anything like that?
No. But I played saxophone, took lessons, played saxophone for years. I played in the Millstadt school band. There was only like 4 of us that played alto sax, and I played alto sax from 5th grade lessons from 5th grade to 7th grade. And then I kind of gave it up and got more into guitar because I could sing and play this instrument. And I mean, naturally you can't play a note and then start singing and then play another note on a saxophone. So, yeah, I went more that direction and then started to try to form bands right off the bat, as many people as I could. And then my cousin Alex was a drummer, and then that kind of just kept going through. But I sang. I sang at church. I always sang along with different records. So I mean, it was always in me from youth of mom. Just everything was music. I mean, there was always a radio on, hardly any television.
So growing up back, I mean, and this includes mom and whoever else was a part of your life, I think I've got a good idea who you might say was one of them, but were there any mentors or people that you looked up to or people guiding you that stand out to you through all those years?
As far as music goes?
No, just life.
Yeah.
I remember you talking about your grandpa a little bit.
Well, I mean,
solid.
for sure, my grandpa, but he was much more like the father that wasn't there, you know. So, and it was such a strange relationship. I mean, on comparisons to how I guess I see other people with their grandfathers. So my grandpa was one of those guys that he had 6 kids with all different women, pretty much. You know,
Sound like my dad.
yeah. Not all. I mean, like my mom and her 2 brothers, they're the same mom and dad, but then everybody else was, you know, single moms and stuff. But he was never around for any of his kids. And then when my mom was 27 and had me, my grandma and grandpa wanted to be involved. So they had me every summer, virtually, I mean, 12 to 14 years of my life. Every time I was off school, I was in Kentucky with
Good
them,
experiences with them.
Yeah. I mean, I guess on the big comparison, you know, anybody could have their, you know, I wasn't treated great. I was disciplined and hit and stuff like that. But those were all things I think that made me a better person. Anybody can argue that you shouldn't do what things are done if you explain it. But I don't know that I would be who I am today if it wasn't for that. So,
Yeah. So I know
but
having.
yeah, definitely grandpa. Not music though. I thought we were, you know, still
No,
kind of.
just in general in
Yeah,
life.
yeah.
Any others?
Yeah, I would say that there was a next door neighbor that was a 21, 22-year-old hot-headed guy, work at a factory, drank, partied all the time, and I was a 9, 10-year-old kid, and I saw him, and he lifted weights, and he listened to Ozzy Osbourne, and he was cool when I was 9 or 10 years old, you know, and his dog was having puppies, so I begged my mom if I could have my first dog, and he like helped me. I don't know, he was one of them guys. I mean, he taught me how to fight. He taught me all sorts of things that even though he was rough and he was rough in his own life, and I definitely watched him make some poor decisions. Plus, I watched him get arrested numerous times and just a lot of issues in his own personal life. I don't think he realized that I'm much more of an aware noticer type person. And a lot of times I take things and I hold them dear as I will never do that, but thank you for showing me the way type approach, I guess. So even though I saw him doing these things, I never told him that I was disappointed in him for doing those bad things. Instead, I learned from him.
Yeah.
He learned in whatever way, and he didn't have to know how I felt.
Yeah.
You know, so I didn't.
Sometimes the best example is a bad example.
Yeah, and for sure. I mean, I never followed in any of those same footsteps, you know. So, yeah, definitely that. Other than that, no. I mean, my mom was always an inspiration just because I thought that it was really cool that she just worked so hard all the time. You know, just give me whatever I wanted in a sense. And she was naive enough that I got away with a lot of things. So my mom was always the real cool mom.
She's going to hear this.
She probably will. Yeah. But she was the naive mom that I could just get away with stuff. And I still thought I made okay choices, you know. I mean, I didn't get caught on a lot of the stuff, you know. So I feel like I didn't get caught and nobody got hurt.
So I know because I know the backstory on some of our music that we've written, and we've had enough personal conversations that at some point there was some
Like meanings of stuff. Is he going to ask about?
no, not specifically on
Okay.
specific songs, but just
If Angela couldn't get it out of me, you ain't
yeah,
going to get it out of me. No, we'll see.
I know that you got caught up in the whole. I don't know if it was Ritalin or whatever. As a child, you got caught up in the ADHD medication.
Yeah.
cycle.
The behavior disorder BD classes. Yeah, full of medications and stuff like that for years.
How old were you when?
I want to say, I mean, my mom would know for sure. Probably second grade. Second grade, and then I was on Ritalin, Clonidine, and Cylert for 8 years, 7, 8 years. It was into high school.
Yeah. And you don't, I know that you don't particularly care for the thought of those.
Oh, no. I'm very untrusting of medication, and I'm not going to say so much doctors, because I don't think that it's 100% a human error when it comes to the medical field. But as far as the tossing things to the wind and just seeing if it works, overall isn't the way that I like to.
Sling it on the wall. And
I don't like to handle things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but you're not on anything now.
No, nothing.
You stepped out of it.
Yeah, and that was a my decision thing. I remember the school, the school nurse or whatever. You would go down at noon, lunchtime. I'd stop by there before I went to the cafeteria or whatever it was at the time.
Cup of pills.
Yeah, and again, I think that it has something to do with being a little bit more awake at the time. I don't really know how to word that, but knowing that it was something that I didn't enjoy, I didn't agree with, I didn't find logic in, but some reason was still doing it, because it was so-called helping me focus or whatever, and it was a strange time. I remember voicing it a lot, but it never really going anywhere until I said, well, this is how it's going to be. Like, I'm not going to be taking these anymore. And if there's anybody who doesn't like it, I don't care. It's that simple. It's my body, my choice,
done.
So yeah. And so I mean, that's how that went. But yeah, I remember I had more problems in school because whatever that pent up energy or whatever it is that you want to call it, or distraction that you have, was easily focused by certain individuals, certain teachers. It was about the way that things were approached. And looking back at it, I will take, after reading, different things that, just knowing humans in general. I mean, when you don't fit in the box, they tend to not take that box. You know what I mean? So they push you aside. And I mean, it is what it is. I get it. If I was trying to teach a group of people and one of them wasn't getting it, I wouldn't, I would think, okay, well, these 20 are getting it and this one isn't. What do I do? You shouldn't put pills on it, I guess would be it wouldn't be my approach. But you look into the 80s at you go back in time of what medical has thought was correct, and
smoking was a stress reliever.
Yeah,
at one point.
they believed that lobotomies helped with things, So I mean, we're doing the study myself, getting older and understanding, has made me less, I guess, bitter about some of it in a sense. But again, I mean, I'm here. I'm doing all right, So
yeah, absolutely. So,
and I feel like I took those negatives in a sense and used it more like a superpower. I mean, I do have whatever issue of how I do things, but I'm sure you have the way that you do things. So it may not be that different. Especially to put a medication on, it might just be a better way of doing something, or a different way, So,
yeah, when we were kids, they just said we were a hyper kid. Go play. Don't come back till supper. And it's weird. I've watched it, without getting too far into it. Now any kid that is busy, he's got a problem.
Yeah.
Well, how about teach him how to build a clubhouse or something?
Yeah,
take
for
him
sure.
out, burn some energy. So if you could go back to little Randy, and it could be Randy of any age, little Randy of any age, because I mean, you were on your own at 17. Didn't you buy your own house before you're?
No, I bought my first house at 22.
22. Okay, but so I mean, still that's
that's
way farther than I was at 22.
I was 17 when I moved. It was a weird. It was a weird time. So I was almost 17, and I got a phone call from a girl that she was pregnant, and it was really one of those deals where I met this girl at a party, and 45 minutes later she was pregnant. I mean, it's really no joke from there. And we tried to be together for about 3 years, and we were kids.
Yeah.
So it didn't work out. she, and I didn't get my son, and she went and got remarried. Well, we weren't married, but went and got married and had a few other kids. And then he raised my son, and they lived in a whole other area. They lived in California for a while, and then Oklahoma. So, but I immediately had to become an adult at almost 17 years old. And oddly enough, I didn't want to follow in the same footsteps as the way my father was. So I wanted to be there. But I realized that I was just so young, and her parents were military. There was just things they were willing to do for her and him that was just better at the time. And I was young again. I didn't know what was better, but I knew that I worked at Shoe Carnival, and I lived in a apartment that had cockroaches in it, and I had a mini fridge with ramen noodles and mustard. So I knew that me going, no, I'm going to be a great dad was not the truth. So, I immediately after that had to become an adult.
Yeah. So if Randy of today, of 2020, well, there's all kinds of things he'd tell little Randy.
Oh,
of
yeah, all sorts of things.
Okay,
yeah.
of 2019, Randy of 2019, if he could go back and give some advice to little Randy, what would he give him? What would he tell him?
How little?
You tell me.
Yeah, I would go pre-medication, and I would go pre-medication, and I would say, don't ever let anyone feed you something that you're not hungry for. So
I like that.
Yeah, that would be really the only thing that I would go back and change. Everything else, I believe that if I went back and changed it, it'd be like what Doc said about the time machine. And if you go back and mess with too much stuff, you can mess up the whole space-time continuum. You
are the third guest I've had who has mentioned Back to the Future on that.
That's what back to 1985.
So, tell me about the dark times. Everybody's got them.
Yeah, what if you're in and out of them for 39 years?
Okay, tell me about that.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really say.
You mean dark as in depression, or?
Yeah. I mean, I will say that. I mean, I've never been like this happy person all the time. I've always been known as the guy who tries to make everyone laugh, And I think that if that's true, and I don't feel like I'm doing that, but I always feel like I'm known as the funny dude, that everyone who's ever been super funny has been a little dark. It just is the way it is. I don't think that means anything other than that's just who you are. So I've never been one of those guys that looks. I'm pessimistic about most things. I always feel like, even though I'll do it, I don't think it's going to go well. Always, I've always been that way. And that's one of the reasons why I'm not good at places like Six Flags and things like that, because I hate rides. I hate them. I mean,
but I've got all the reasons for that.
Well, now, and I've been on all of them. 3 times in my life, I've been on, from Raging Rivers to the log thing to the Ninja to the Screaming Eagle to the pirate ship that I barfed on everybody on. I've been on all those things, and every single one of them give me a headache, make me sick, and for like 4 or 5 days, I feel like I have the flu. So if people are like, I'm going to pay buttloads of money to do this, I'm just going to go, okay.
Okay, you go do that.
You go do that.
Right.
But now I'm not going to,
So a minute ago, you touched on the funny guy masking the other things,
Yeah.
One of the things I remember from, it started at that first practice that you came. You have got to be one of the funniest human beings I've ever met in my life. And that's the snapshot I got in the beginning. And almost 10 years later, you're still one of the funniest human beings I've ever met. But I see the underside of it too, probably more than some people. I know there's other people who see it.
I'd be willing to bet, because I'm the most vulnerable when I'm writing. I definitely feel that way. Anytime that I'm right, especially with other people, it'd be almost like if and then this may be a weird thing I'm just trying to come up with an uncomfortable comparison, but let's say that once a week, all of us went into a urinal or a bathroom that had no dividers. So we were all just peeing just together right there in the open. Okay. That's how I feel whenever I'm completely writing with a group of people.
Just exposed.
Yeah, that anything that I feel that's going to come out from a chord that you strike or a chord that Steven hits or that I hit, most of the time if I hit it, I've already hit it before and I know how the feeling is going to react. But when you write with, or when you're working on new material, maybe not now, but in the beginning, it felt more like just a vulnerable situation, uncomfortable. So it's like that roller coaster thing, like I said. If you don't like something, why do you do it? But you do. People who like roller coasters probably really don't like them. They don't like being jarred or having their stomach messed up after they just ate a funnel cake. But there's something about it that's an addiction. Probably no different than people like to drive fast or skydive, whatever it may be. I kind of feel like that when we're writing. But when we have finished a song, it used to be that it was like a euphoric feeling, like I let go of something, or I could just talked to a counselor, you know. And when we record it and it's out on plastic digital, I feel even more complete that this chapter has been said, you know.
And then I call it exercising demons, man. You got to get them out.
But I realize more now than ever, though, that the songs change what they mean.
You mean once they're out?
Yeah, like
come back and revisit them.
Once it's out and you don't listen to it anymore. I know we practice it, and in practice it doesn't feel the same way. But when we're performing it, I get vulnerable again because I hope that no one knows what I mean. It's almost like, I guess if you were a hacker, you don't want anybody to find out what your numbers are, you know, how they can get in there and figure that out. But you still do it. And that's kind of how music is whenever we're writing. I get to the point where I'm like, man, you know, if I say this too clearly and not cryptic enough, I'm giving away a little too much of who I am, you know, or I'm opening too much of something that I shouldn't be messing with, you know.
So I kind of...
It's not like we're deep. Like, all right, you know, but I mean, just personally, I think, you know,
I get it.
I mean, we're not writing opeth music here, but I'm saying as far as like how I feel as a lyricist, it just is what it is.
But it's,
you know?
You can only speak what you can speak.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Absolutely. Yeah. I remember one time we were on stage, we were I think we were sound checking, and I had already sound checked and I was just kind of messing around, and you were getting dialed in, and I knew something was bothering you that night. Still don't really know what it was, but I looked over and you looked at me, and I won't say that you had a scared look on your face because there was nothing to be scared of, but I saw that vulnerability in you. I saw that you because you looked at me and you asked if I was all right. And I said, well, yeah, I'm fine. And I could see that you weren't, but you were checking to see if maybe I think that you were kind of seeing if I was in the same spot you were in or something like that. And then I got worried. You know what I mean? Because I'm like,
did I play bad? Did I? Or,
no, we played an amazing.
No. That's what I'm thinking. Were you think like was it whenever I asked you if you were all right?
No,
you know?
It was before the show.
Oh, okay.
It was before the show. We were just getting dialed in and everything, and for whatever reason, that night you appeared worried. Before, I mean, once we got on stage, everything was fine.
Yeah.
But when you looked at me, I saw it in your eyes that it wasn't scared. It was just. I could tell you felt vulnerable. Yeah. You know, and
well, it definitely is. It just is. It's a strange place, and maybe not musically. Like when we're playing the guitar, you know, I hope I don't fumble. I hope my amp don't go out. You know, all that basic stuff that I'm sure everybody feels. But as a singer, you know, one, you don't want to forget your lyrics, or two, you don't want to get so deep into the song that you feel it again. I want to be able to give you that performance that you're like, oh yeah, I just went and saw Divide the Empire and it was a great show. But I don't want, well, yeah, you know, like when people come to the stage and they say, man, your voice was so soulful or whatever that may be, or just so powerful. That's great. That's awesome. That's a great thing whenever people say that to me, but they don't know where I just came from in a sense, you know? It's weird now more than ever. I understand why artists don't want to talk to you before or after a performance, because they're getting ready to visit a place that they really didn't want to visit again. They didn't know they wanted to visit it again. You know what I mean? Like you write and you hope that someone loves your song and listens to it all the time and learns all the words and, you know, comes to all your gigs. But then when you have to perform that song again, maybe not everybody. If you got a happy watermelon crawl song, then you're probably happy to perform it every night long, you know. But if it's a song that goes back to a personal feeling, and then you have to relive that every time, it can become where you're like, I don't want to become attached to this song, which is it's odd. It's an odd entity that ends up happening if it's a good song.
So I kind of equate it the Robin Williams scenario, you know. Do you think that the humor and the music could be, albeit healthy ones, defense mechanisms to kind of put some armor on against that vulnerability?
Yeah, for sure. But well, like we said about people that are, you know, they covered up with being funny or being you know, something like I think
extravagant, over
the
top.
I think that it's definitely a mechanism to deal with whatever it is that has damaged you throughout life. It just is. I mean, it doesn't matter, and it's how you. It's not a bad thing. I used to think that it was a bad thing. You know, when people say that I shouldn't say it like that. There's a threshold of darkness that is okay. And then there's a threshold of it. I need to talk to somebody and make sure this don't go south. So I have been in both of those places, and I have been able to talk to the right people and read the right articles that help me find my balance again. So I assume that's the way everybody works. You have to, if you start to feel like your darkness is a little bit more than your light, then it's time to look, you know, in better places or different places, or change up something that it is that you're doing, even if you don't know why you're doing it. You just do it. You know. So do you? I know you practice some yoga. Nikki, your wife, is ex-yoga instructor, probably still yoga instructor. Still licensed, but yeah, she's a potter. Yeah, you know. And she's actually everything. I mean, she does, you know. She's a Renaissance woman. Yeah, definitely. For sure. Funny bone. Edit. The new stool gets the first. Edit. No, I'm leaving it in. The new stool gets somebody. Edit. So is yoga. I know yoga's one of the things you do to kind of balance that out. It started with just from sciatica. And then my chiropractor made me laugh because he goes, you know, you feeling any better? And I was like, sometimes, you know. I said, but yoga's been helping. He goes, oh, yeah, where are you doing yoga? And I said, my wife's yoga studio. And he's like, your wife teaches yoga? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, well, why do you come to me? And so then I guess it's been about 5 years now that I've been doing yoga. But I would go to her classes. And then she's a great yoga instructor, and all the ladies there, we had a lot of fun, you know. But I think I stuck with it. One, because it was helping, and two, because it was like these ladies in my class were 65, 70 that could do more than me at like 34, 35 years old. Take an ego hit, and I'm like, what is going on here? You know, I mean, I know I'm no Ralph Macchio, but what the hell, you know? Yeah. But is there some stress relief in that on the emotional? Yes. Now I have never. Without being under the influence, I have never been able to reach a zen in meditation to where I could actually like disappear from myself. Again, you know, like I said, without any kind of help. And so I do believe that yoga is an unbelievable, powerful tool that if you unleash it, and it's not about the whole bending and you know, I mean, it is, but it isn't. I mean, not only do you find that parts of you that should not be sore that once you work that out, or you focus on pain. So
To focus on the breathing and stuff.
Well, to focus on to focus on the breathing. But if you put yourself if you get yourself in a pose that's going to be uncomfortable, and if you do yoga, you will put yourself in poses that are uncomfortable. You learn how to face pain in a different way, and it becomes something to where other things don't hurt. Oddly enough, you stub your toe, it doesn't hurt as bad. You jam your finger, it doesn't hurt as bad because now you know how to take those breaths and make pain focus in a different way. So that is a great tool in itself.
Dead airspace.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a yogi as far as I don't know every pose. I have about 7 poses that I do, and then I, do basic push-ups and then plank, where I just lay there and just virtually think about stuff. I'll come home from work, take a shower, put on my basketball shorts and just sit down on this rug and just, well, not even sit in a style, just lay completely down. And I don't go to sleep. I just focus on escaping my job, my writing ability, my life in general, and just focus
shut
on
it all off for a little bit.
No, and actually I do better with no music, no sound whatsoever, just as quiet as could be,
So are those things that you practice on the regular?
I mean, I do yoga probably, I want to say that I do a few poses every day, but I probably only do a half hour to an hour, maybe once a week, like a full. So not as much as I should. You should really do about an hour a day if you really want to find. But I was doing that in the beginning.
Yeah, I thought you were doing it pretty regular.
Yeah, I was doing much more earlier. And then now that I've lost weight and gotten stretchier and bendier, I don't do it as much.
I like that you said bendier. So who is Randy today? I know you just battled some health problems.
Yeah, I'm still
coming out the other side of those.
Yeah, still battling that a little bit here and there.
Lost a ton of weight.
Yeah, it's been a weird. I mean, I'm sure everybody for 2020 is going to say this was not my year, So I'm going to say that as of January 18th, I had some major health stuff, scared the crap out of my wife. And from there, I took a different approach. I decided no medications and stuff. I was going to completely change my diet and hopefully fix myself naturally. And it's working. I'm what is it? It's going to be 7 months in, and that's
how much weight are you down?
65 pounds.
65 pounds.
Yeah, 65 pounds, and 67 depending on the morning. And I have the tendency now. I'm getting on the scale every morning, which it's a weird addiction. But I get on there and I notice if it's but I did this to myself the other day and wish I wouldn't have done it. But I got on there and it was like a pound more, and so I didn't eat that day.
Yeah.
Which I don't need to fall into some weird mental, because I'm definitely OCD. So if I see a number and I get fixated on that number, or dude, I still hang up my clothes to where it's like black shirts, red shirts, tan pants, jeans, so I got to watch myself,
Some of your quirkiness with those things, it's some of the things I love.
I don't know why and things have to be lamps if you want to go into that,
God.
I am a lamp addict. I collect lamps from everywhere imaginable. If you have lamps and they're unique, and I even make lamps.
We had to put a no more lamp in the rehearsal studio.
So if you want to know some inside information, I have some strange addiction to lamps because of the golden light that they put off, and certain lamps with like the tweed lampshade. I love them.
He loves lamps.
I don't know what else to say. Yeah.
So who's Randy today?
Yeah, I would say that I feel like I am more compassionate than ever before. And then I analyze.
Just in general?
Yeah, and I analyze things better than ever before. Like I used to be. I said earlier in the interview, I'm pessimistic, which I believe is a trait that I will just have to have. I can't change that. But my wife is very optimistic. So for everything that I think's not going to go well, I have her, like that big dog and that little dog, like, what are we going to do now, George? Kind of situation. It's kind of what I feel like. Anytime I feel like I am not confident, maybe not confident, but pessimistic about something, she's always there to say, it's going to be great. It's going to turn out perfect, And then we bicker that she's wrong and I'm right.
Right. I'll show you.
And then a lot of times she's right.
Mhm.
And you think after 17 years together that it would change my pessimistic views, but it doesn't. It actually secures them even more to try and prove her wrong, you know?
How's that working out?
It's not. So, but there's a good balance to that because she's the things that I'm not. And
The yin and the yang.
yeah, and I really believe that's a huge factor in who I am today because I think that if I was with somebody pessimistic, that we would just be unhappy together.
Just
you
go
know what
around
I mean?
starting fires together.
Yeah. We'd be the bar couple that was just inviting people outside to just beat them together, you know? Bonnie and Clyde or something, you know?
Yeah.
But she really does. I mean, she balances me in a way that I feel like I'm better today than I would have been today without her, you know? So yeah, I can't say who I am today. I would say that I'm a much more compassionate Randy than I ever feel like I have been. I'm a much more open-minded, not stuck in my ways. You know, I think it's easy for you to get stuck in your ways, but to force yourself to branch out. And a lot of times I think I branch out because of my wife, you know. There's things that I would not do, you know.
Would you be sitting at a getting a manicure and a pedicure like our drummer is right now?
I'm not against somebody getting all the dead skin and stuff off my feet, but however, it'll go right back to that peeing in the urinal thing without the little door. It's just not something that I'm probably gonna do.
You're not gonna go out and have a cocktail while you're getting.
I'm not into mojitos and being touched and stuff like that.
Man card, pulling it.
Yeah, no, I don't know how I feel about that, but I mean, I'm the more compassionate Randy than I ever have been before. So I'm gonna say that if somebody likes that and that's what they want to do, more power to you.
Right on.
You know,
make me feel bad now. I'm still gonna bust your balls.
Yeah. It's important to probably. I mean, Keith he's not the easiest one in the band to mess with. That's all of us.
Oh.
All of us can get one over on each other at one time or another. Although I will say that the way we jam, since I'm the front man, I'm always in front and the fan's there. So if I fart, it's getting everybody. So I am the crop duster.
You're horrible last week.
Or the walrus. Yeah.
So what are you up to now? I know you got bunch of Echo Trace CDs and shirts.
We have 2 boxes of Echo Trace shirts and CDs. Due to COVID, we weren't able to have our CD release party, so I just hexed the whole deal. Because
basement sale.
Yeah, let me go off of how the Echo Trace thing is. I'm going to put it into like a Crowbot situation or Them Crooked Vultures. Nowhere near as good, but still, I think a well put together record if you get your hands on it. Keith and I formed Echo Trace around the same time Divide the Empire came together, so 9 years ago. And we had 5 song ideas. Those 5 song ideas turned into 13 songs, and we had them that whole time. Mm-hmm. And we went into the studio in 2014, I think. Does that sound right?
2015. About 5 years ago.
Yeah, so 2015, and recorded that album. Did our overdubs, did all of our stuff, mixed and mastered it, boom. It took from 2015 to 2018 before they were done and printed.
Mm-hmm. But
2019 was a busy year for...
But didn't you brought in a bass player 3 years after the start?
Yeah.
So he had to come back in.
Yeah, added in.
Track.
Yeah, we had to redo a couple things, remix and master because we added a bass player. Yeah,
Yep.
But still... The album was like an overall 5-6 years to get it done and packaged. And then when we had the CD release party planned, it got canceled due to this COVID thing. So it was a bummer, but at the same time, the CD's so old and played out in my book. Everybody knows the songs. You can buy them on any outlet, Amazon, all that stuff. So unless the world makes some huge comeback, just order the CDs and I will send it to you or download the MP3s.
You got shirts.
Yeah, I got shirts. we'll do $10 shirts and $10 CDs if you buy them together. If not, they're going to cost more. But yeah, Echo Trace.
And Divide the Empire. We got a song sitting in the can right now. We got 2 more to write to complete our 4th record.
Yeah, for Volume 3, which is exciting. And again, life schedules have changed, jobs are changing, just things in general are changing. So it's making it more of a challenge, which is maybe good. Maybe it'll, it's been frustrating for everybody, I'm sure. But I think
I've been the biggest crybaby in Divide the
Empire. I'm sure whatever you said, we all felt. So I don't think you're alone. I just think that if we all voiced it at the same time, we'd all sound like we were arguing. So.
And then you've just, which I'm over the freaking top proud of you for this one, for 3 years.
Talking about going in and doing something on my own.
Yeah, 3 years you've been writing on a loop station and working stuff out on your
pages
own.
And pages of lyrics that I think are just so good.
Yeah, and you're finally this coming to fruition. You just went. It was last weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, last weekend.
Last Friday before last?
Last Friday.
Last Friday, went in the studio, you tracked your first one. Kind of tracked.
I played drums.
Dissected a bunch of stuff.
My first time playing every instrument, even though most of them were, the only thing I played really was my guitar as far as instruments. Everything else I played was through MIDI stuff, so pretty much buttons and keys. But it's going to be cool. I don't really know what to say. I know I sent you the rough. I think that it's definitely different than anything I've done. And, I hope that people dig it. I'm going to put some more time into it, but hopefully get it out by the end of August or the beginning of September.
This
song, just the single. I don't know which direction to go. If I should try to make my own video, we're on low budget. So, should I try to make a video or should I just put the single out and make it downloadable for everybody? I don't know how to approach it,
Universal will let you know when it gets close.
Yeah. You know how it is. You just get excited. You're like, I want everyone to hear it, but then at the same time, I don't want anybody to hear it, it's
I don't want to be vulnerable.
Yeah, I don't want anybody to judge it, but I want everybody to judge it, so it's the stupidest thing ever that's how we are, but.
Oh, that's hilarious. So do you have anything that you, see, we've plugged Echo Trace. We've plugged your new. Do you have a name for your new project, or
no?
Right now, it's just going to be Randy Shanks.
Yeah, right now, it's just going to be me putting a song out. I don't really have a name for it. A name for the overall project.
Shankerton Blues Express.
Yeah, I don't know. And I didn't want to be pretentious. My name's Randall, so I was like, should I have some kind of thing that was like just Randall?
I think you should call it Philippe.
And then as soon as I thought of that, I thought of when Garth Brooks tried to do that Chris Gaines thing with like the wig on and stuff, and I thought, it was like a little soul patch and stuff, and I thought to myself, I was like, okay, I don't know that people will take things like that, but I know as soon as I think of that, it makes it harder for me to crush that decision, or it makes it easier for me to crush that and go, I'm not going to pull that.
Yep.
I'm not going to do that.
Not going to happen.
So I would like to maybe put together a music video that expresses the overall song. But again, I don't know, unless there, I could come up with a GoFundMe, I guess, but I don't really want to be that guy either. I want to be able to fund my own projects, So.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with the GoFundMe for music and stuff like that. I'm sure some people have done it successfully and it turned out great, but I'm just, if I can't do it on my own or with funds that we've done from a show.
I want to reap my own benefits.
Yeah, because I want control.
Yeah, exactly.
I want control.
Well, and I know
me.
a lot of those things where they're like, give you this or free stuff if you do it. Then that's all great if it works out for you. But yeah, I think on this one, I'm gonna try and come up with some concepts of how to release each one to make them more unique. But.
This is the time to do that because everybody's trying something new.
It's a great downtime. This year has just been odd. That's the best way to put it. Is odd. I'm writing this year off. I remember we had a big New Year's Eve party that unfortunately you couldn't make, but it was a great time and everybody was so positive about. It was so cool. We're going into the 20s. You live in this house from the 20s, and then January hit as far as like my health, and I was like, okay, that's a bummer, and then what was it, March? let's say middle of March.
I went down end of March 23rd.
When this whole quarantine and everything happened, and then all of a sudden I was deemed essential, and I was still already in pain, healing. So I was going to work every day in pain. As many ibuprofen as you could take in a day, and I worked like that for a while, and then I was like, okay, nothing. I'm just going to heal, you know. And it's been rough, but at the same time, it's been a learning experience on. You know, if you, there was an old dude one time that told me, he's like, how old are you? We're at a job site. I'm 20 something. You know, he goes, I want you to remember something. In your 20s and 30s, you can do what you want, but in your 40s, your check engine light's going to come on. So just remember that. And I swear to it, when I was in the hospital and they were poking and prodding around on me, I thought to myself, my check engine light's on. My check engine light is on. And yeah, next month I'm going to be 40. And so I think that attributes a little bit to the dark time swing that I'm in right now, you know, a little bit of that.
A little midlife going on.
Yeah. Pockets and jingling, all that good stuff, you know.
Oh, that's hilarious. So anything else you want to plug? Or I was going to say California Closet. Illinois Closet.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, no. I mean, I do custom closets and bathrooms for IllinoisCloset.com, IllinoisClosetConcepts.com. I've been there for 21 years, and it's been cool. You know, it's a like I said, it's a weird thing that I remember telling my grandpa when I was 19 or 20 that I was doing carpentry work for a closet company, and he's like, well, there can't be no money in that. Who cares about their closets, you know? And at the time, you know, it was pretty big, but it wasn't near as big as once.
Probably back when the first wire shelf closets started coming out.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, we still do a lot of wire. You know, we do a lot of wire. But I do more. I do more of the custom in. Yeah, and it's amazing how HGTV and all those home improvement shows made my job. Everyone had to have it.
More lucrative.
Yeah, for sure. More lucrative. I mean, and so those are the reality shows I support. The ones that now the downside is that it put a false sense of the idea that you can finish a project in a day or in a week. Dave
says the same thing about the tattoo shows did to his industry. Somebody come in wanting a full back piece in 6 hours.
Yeah, and I think that is it's no different than when we talk about porn. Give a false sense of how quick a plumber will come to your house. You know, it's that same saying. You know, I mean, there's just you know, you watch something and you're like, hey, you know. That is exactly what it's done to us. It's blown us up. It's made it to where we have 30 different colors of things that can go into your closet. I want to say 100 different configurations in glass for your shower door. And, you know, people ask me all the time, after all those years of doing it, you must have a beautiful bathroom. And I was like, yeah, I have a shower curtain. I change it every 6 months. I'm pretty much just in there to shave, poo, and clean up. You know, like I'm not that guy, but I'm very happy for the people who want all that fancy stuff. Yes. That's just not me.
Yeah.
I'll buy guitars with my shower door money. Yeah. And houses for my wife.
Right. And Nikki got some businesses going on right now?
Yeah. You know, sadly enough, I can never remember. I mean, Nicole Shanks, you can find, you know, I mean, you Google her and you'll find all of her pages because, I mean, she's got
Weave and Wobble.
You know, she teaches looming. She teaches yoga still.
Pottery.
She does all of her pottery. She's a professor, a ceramics professor at Jefferson College, St. Charles Community College, and Swick College in Belleville. But everything's kind of shifted, you know, so we don't know come August if she'll be doing as many of those. Yeah. I know Jeffco is open for that kind of stuff. Because, I mean, how do you do pottery and ceramics not being there? You know, it's not possible, you know, so it's a skill you're learning. But yeah, she looms. She does just all this really cool stuff. I forgot what they call that, though. It's like not just looming, but it's like fabric.
Textiles.
Yeah, textile work and stuff like that. But just make some incredible stuff. So yeah, I mean, we're both, our family used to say we were the hippies because I played music and she was always making stuff or wearing like, you know, hippie style clothing, I guess, if that's what you want to call her. Or we were bohemians. That's it.
I got something she made me. You just brought me tonight.
Oh yeah. The incense burners.
Nikki made me some incense burners.
Yeah, those are cool.
Those.
You know, the bummer part is that most of the time when I ask her to make me some, it takes forever.
I asked her a long time ago. But...
Yeah, you must have put in a better order than me. Now, I will say, though, the cool part about being her husband is she makes something I really like. I just use it before she gets a chance to. Like, she made this new coffee cup for herself. Sorry, you got to get to the coffee machine first. I've been using that.
She's a great cook, though. Too.
Yeah,
I'm eating Quest bars and cheese sticks over here, and you're getting these gourmet cheese plates.
Yeah, the other day she said something to me about she goes, "I'm going to make a panini. Do you want one?" And I was like, sure, and not really knowing the version of me that really knows what a panini is, other than it's like a cooked sandwich, you know. So I didn't really think much of it, you know. Right. And it's virtually like homemade bread. So she went that far. She makes the sourdough bread or the whatever the bread is, and then she made like this pesto stuff, which I'm not even 100% sure what that is.
I saw a picture of that.
It's like olives and I don't know what it is. I'm not even going to pretend that I know. It's stuff. It's green. It's green stuff. Okay, and it's bulleted up. However, that it's a little puree, you know, and it's great to dip Cheez-Its in it. I was doing that too. But anyway, she put that on the bread along with like some broccoli and some prosciutto and some cheese, and then grilled them. However, she grilled them, where they, you know, crusty on the sides and just
panini-nized them.
Yeah, she panini-nized them, and. They were amazing, but I wouldn't know really any difference of that. I mean, yes, it's amazing, but I mean, I would have never had it if we weren't married.
Right.
So I don't know that I've ever had another panini. I probably have had a cooked sandwich like that before, but I don't think that I've ever had that same green stuff and the prosciutto and I can't even say whatever the cheese was because she picked it up in some place, some little farm town, you know. So she even goes out of her way to get the best cheeses that's not even from the grocery store. Like, it's just way different than what I would do. I'm glad. Like I said, I'm 100% glad I married her because not only do we have a lot of fun, but she definitely picks out food and she'll be like, "How do you like this?" You know, and I was like, "It's great. I mean, it's food. Thank you." You know, but she went through, you know, I mean, like she's gardening now.
Yeah.
And so she's out there and then she's like, you know, this is the basil that I grew, you know? And I was like, oh, cool. But I don't even know what the hell basil even tastes like. You know, I would probably know what it tastes like if it wasn't in there.
Does.
Yeah. She'll tell me she put fresh basil in it. And I mean, I don't even know what that even is. You know, I knew that it was a leaf.
Guys, she put fresh basil in it.
Yeah. You know, and I actually probably say that. Friends come over or whatever and be like, oh, yeah, the pesto's to die for. I try to have that. You know, I don't even know what pesto even is.
Supportive.
Yeah, I am. You know, like I try to do that for like other couples that are coming over. And I hope that the husband doesn't catch on. Or I hope that the husband's playing the same dumbass I am. I don't know. Maybe the husband's bringing out little food cracker things, and he's like, "Yes, these are watercress sandwiches." Yeah, we stone ground these watercress sandwiches. I don't know what I'm doing, you know. I don't know if I should serve it with a napkin over my arm. I don't know, you know.
Oh, it's hilarious. Well, I think we beat the shit out of this one.
Well, I mean, there's going to be a lot of editing, I'm sure. You know. Well, there's got to be.
No. Straight shot, man.
No,
even the elbow bang.
Yeah, no, you got to cut that out. We're going to talk. We're going to talk.
No. But anyway, thank you so much.
Oh,
what?
I don't want to forget this because I thought about that. I was going to write some things down. Rock Rage Radio is a big one.
Ooh.
You know.
Ooh,
I think that it's awesome. You know, and if you watch this and you catch this, sorry we waited to the very end to say hi. You know, you guys are some of our biggest supporters. And I appreciate that very much. I appreciate,
Lori.
But I appreciate every online radio station that I can't think of the name of right now, which I'm sorry, and Rock Paper Podcast, and all you strong supporters of not just St. Louis, but just new music. Thank you for not just finding relevance in what we're doing, but accepting what we're doing as the same as it would be any mainstream national artist.
And Old Man Fat Bike,
Fat Bike, Dixie Cryptid, anybody who supports us along the way. I mean, thank you so much. And it's not about, you come into our concerts, buying our merchandise. It's about the overall shares. It's about the overall conversations, the knowing our lyrics, the wanting to be involved with a world full of things to do and full of entertainment. Thank you for choosing us for some of your entertainment. It means everything. It's the whole reason to do it. Outside of the want ourselves to create. So yeah, thank you. That's all I have to say.
Well, the last thing I'll say is thank you so much for being an inspiration in my life and being a huge part of my life for the last 10 years. You've definitely allowed, I won't say allowed, you've brought new light to my life. You have been my translator to the world. The things I haven't been able to say through music have been able to been heard because of you.
Okay, well, thank you for feeling that way, and I feel very much the same. I feel like I have learned a lot from you, and I feel like we've shared some cool times on stage. We've met some cool people along the way, and we've said and done some really neat things together. And that, I mean, no matter what, it's been a fun chapter to be a part of, and I'm glad that so many people are reading it. You know, so yeah.
Cool. Did you fart? I think you did.
But I kept a straight face.
I smelled something. I love you, brother. Thank you so
love
much.
You too, man. Oh, and 740 News.
740 News. Keep an eye out for that.
740 News. Yep. I love that Phil Shankerton guy. He's a character,
great.
man.
That's great. Thanks, guys. Peace.